Jesus, I mean, you guys do nothing but complain about how you can't stand it in this place here, and then you haven't got the guts just to walk out? I mean, what do you think you are, for Christ's sake, crazy or something? Well, you're not.
Machiavellian is Illuminati, all through your body. The blows like a 12-gauge shot. Feel me?
The Prince is a book about power.
Those who wish to win the favor of a prince will generally approach him with gifts of what they value most, or what they believe will most delight him. Wishing to present myself to your magnificence with a token of my deepest respect, I have found among my possessions nothing that I value or esteem higher than my knowledge of the deeds of great men. Your magnificence will recognize that I cannot offer you a greater gift than the prospect of your understanding in the shortest period all that I have experienced and learned over so many years and with so much danger and hardship. I hope therefore that your magnificence will accept this humble gift in the spirit in which it is offered.
In a spirit of commemoration, whereby those important events of the past, usually associated with someone's death or the end of some awful bloody struggle, are celebrated with a nice holiday, I thought we could mark this
Day of the Vow, Day of the Covenant, or Dingani's Day.
a day that is sadly no longer remembered, by taking some time out of our daily lives to sit down and have a little chat.
The EFF's head of land reform, Angela Mngxitama, and Freedom Front Plus Piet Groenewald had to be separated outside Parliament in what was described as a near fistfight. What were they arguing about, you ask? Restitution of land without compensation. Oh, that's what we People are fighting over girlfriends, parking spots. These guys are like, nah, my land. Mpama. The fight came after Kugile Nkwinti, the Minister of Land Reform, announced the proposed land restitution policy.
Government will buy the 50, will pay for the 50%, except that the money won't go to one individual, the owner. It will go to a fund which will be owned by both of them.
Somebody give that man an EFF beret to go with his red tie, Baba. Eh? But Helen Zilla had to say something about it.
I wish I could understand why the government is abandoning its National Development Plan, which it has committed to, taken the trouble to draw up at great expense, and I've worked out, I think, about 90% of all voters who voted for a party that supported the National Development Plan.
Of course you would prefer the National Development Plan because it doesn't involve black people taking 50% of your wine farm and nice now.
In 1948, the nationalist government was voted into power by the white electorate in South Africa, and the battle lines were clearly drawn.
When it comes to land reform, racial lines are clearly drawn. Oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do as a country without the essential skills of rampant self-entitled race-based greed? Oh my God, we're going to be certain. Okay, you can live. You can live. But when you live, you live as against the farmhouse. Right? We found ourselves in the situation. How did it all start? This is a problem. But where did everything start?
They're pagans, Lieutenant. And pagans lack reason.
How do they,
Well, wasn't Cicero a pagan? Tacitus, Virgil, Homer, Julius Caesar, Plato, Aristotle, Socrates. Do I need to continue?
Those men were enlightened, Lieutenant. You can't possibly compare them.
After many generations, the children of your children were still unable to learn the needs of my people. If their stars remained different, would they then leave to go back to the lands where you came from?
Say that the white people took their ground.
Or would they have learned and to love this land so deeply that no other land could be home.
We not took the ground. We fight for the ground.
What would happen, Fewan, if this land, without crowding, became crowded? Which of those unborn children would then be called African? Yours or mine?
Because while the truncheon may be used in lieu of conversation, words will always retain their power.
Salvadorkies and the liberals are moving because of what Oom Peter Mulder said.
Yeah, he said historically. No, historically. He said historically the darkies don't have a claim to the Western Cape and the Northwestern Cape because they wasn't even here when we came and took the land.
But then who did we take the land from?
No, some other oaks, I suppose. Some other guys, I think. Makisaki. The koi maybe.
Koi is mos a fish.
Ja, yours is my I'm talking about the koi.
So twee vasies.
Yeah, I know you're wondering ukuthi mapaputu ekuthulile kwenzakalani. Aba brutes naba brats naba foka sebazothula. Abathule direct inja yami sishanga su.
People took their ground. We don't took the ground. We fight for the ground. Of course in our
Day of the Vow, Day of the Covenant, or Dingani's Day. These were the names previously given to December 16. It was a day commemorating Fort Tracker victory during the Battle of Blood River. The battle, which took place in 1838, saw 474 trackers defeat an army of over 10,000 Zulu warriors. This led Fort Trackers to believe that their victory was an act of God.
The Bible said it's our ground. The Bible said it's our ground. We fight for the ground.
It was on the same day, 123 years later, that African National Congress military wing Umkhonto Wesizwe was born. This came after the Sharpeville massacre, where 69 people, including women and children, were killed. With the release of former President Nelson Mandela, reconciliation was forged, and the new South Africa was tasked with promoting reconciliation and unity. 16th December became symbolic in its acknowledgement of both Afrikaner and liberation struggle history. In 1995, the Day of Reconciliation was celebrated as a public holiday for the first time.
People were saying this is an impossible machine. It's a machine that's going to make miracles. It's going to take a country that is basically at war with itself, because there was something like a civil war in the early 1990s in South Africa.
And the preacher stirs the crowd.
Geen aarde geproef als die rooigras van Zuid-Afrika. Daar is vir u kind geen ander speelplek as die wye vlaktes van Zuid-Afrika. Daar is vir u geen ander waterstroom om jou dorsend te les as die waterstrome van Zuid-Afrika. Ja, my vriend, Daar is hier geen ander rusplek vir jou graf as die bloeddeurdrenkte aarde van Suid-Afrika. Hierdie land is ons land. Wat nooit
Getting religion out of politics was an idea with legs.
And God gave us the ground.
The ground and the creatures that live there.
Over the years, the human species has tried all sorts of ways to make their voices heard. But which forms of protest have had the most impact?
Comrade, what are we going to do about these oppressors? What plan do we have?
Oh, my boy, I have a plan. Don't worry about this thing. It is called word of mouth. We're going to tell the people how upset we are.
And what do we do after?
Whatever we want, boy. Whatever we want.
So we tell the people, and then what is the change?
Look, it is not a perfect plan, but at least we're doing something.
Okay.
You know what? Why don't you give it a go? Give it a go. Just believe.
Comrade!
Yeah.
We are angry, about these oppressors. We're angry. We need to get this evil out. Down, pantsy, 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 evil.
That's the way. Does not feel good. It feels good. It feels good right in here. Right in here.
Woo! Right now, only 50,000 white families own more than 80% of the land in South Africa, and that land was taken by arms, was stolen from black people. We wanted to return to the black majority.
And it's threats like this that Dion takes seriously. Militant black youth are calling on white settlers and colonialists to leave the country.
We are evacuating to our first assembly point just outside of town.
With the anti-apartheid icon gone, some members of South Africa's white minority believe anarchy and genocide are just around the corner, and that's despite reassurances from politicians over the country's stability.
I'm prepping for anarchy, and this place is a ticking time bomb.
They belong to a group called the Sakelanders, who are convinced it's only a matter of time before the country's white population is slaughtered by the black majority.
South Africa belongs to everyone who lives in black and white.
Dion's been preparing for 7 years. While most South Africans watched Mandela's funeral with sadness, he monitored it with concern.
I'll phone everybody that needs to be phoned and I'll SMS it through so we can start the evacuation plan. And let's go. We're out of here. Guys, we can go, everything looks safe. We are ready for our evacuation. Keep your eyes on the road and always be aware. It happened in Zimbabwe. There was a genocide there. They chased all the white people out of Zimbabwe. They came to South Africa, and it's going to happen here as well.
Yeah, you know, Mulder was right.
Mulder, from there by the X-Files.
Newman, Paul, I'm talking about Peter Mulder.
Die Morphy van die Vryheidsfront.
He's not a Morphy.
What? He's a bloody deputy minister in the ANC government.
Yeah, but it doesn't make him a Morphy. It makes him something else. I can't say it on television.
Whisper in my ear. Man, I said whisper. Sorry.
40% Opia. That's how much of our country doesn't have blacks living on it in the olden days. So they can't claim it all now for themselves. That's what Mulder is saying.
So if we didn't take the land they didn't have,
then apartheid wasn't so bad.
It's like stepping back in time.
Can you just write there by name for me, initials and surname?
From the military-clad security at the gate to the sculptures and flags on display. This is apartheid-style living in democratic South Africa.
So, if we didn't let them ride in buses that they also didn't have,
then apartheid wasn't so bad.
And if we didn't let them vote because they didn't have elections,
apartheid wasn't so bad.
And if we didn't let them on the beaches because they didn't have... Wag 'n bietjie.
Klippies.
Ja, met ijs. Met ijs, ja.
It's called Kleinfontein, a whites-only private settlement about 30 kilometers southeast of the capital Pretoria.
Hello, Marissa.
Spokeswoman Marissa Hasbrook is unapologetic about the criteria for residents they want here.
Could I live in Kleinfontein? Kleinfontein is an Afrikaner cultural community. Are you an Afrikaner?
Afrikaners are white South Africans of mostly Dutch descent.
Then you can't live here.
This nation will speak of the fruit of our rights. Who will govern it? The direct interests of our king, who together with you will deliberate the laws, seeking the needs of the people. Your people, not the needs of my people, would learn very translate. How will we live in this nation?
I can't even have my own hero because you're going to be offended.
The hero she's talking about is Hendrik Verwoerd, a former South African Prime Minister considered the architect of apartheid.
Policy is one which is called by an Afrikaans word apartheid. And I'm afraid that has been misunderstood so often. It could just as easily, and perhaps much better, be described as a policy of good neighborliness.
International stage, bonsoir. You get Majida who made music, actually there are a lot of musicians in South Africa made it big overseas, bonsoir. Not because of exile, but also because it was the platform and the government until they failed. The government failed, was so stupid because they were caught up in wasting money. They created three big things today that they don't know, they will never be able to stop. They were never able to stop. And that's music, through sports, and through dialect, and through townships.
Yeah.
Townships is a culture that there's a culture in there that people don't understand. That's why it's always so cool for white people to go to a township. Because it's something that they don't have.
And I must say that we are very proud to present this particular bowl as well, because this is from a decolonized farm. It's an African-owned farm in Tojani farm in Rustenburg.
We're talking about the rest of Africa not celebrating. We were talking to Medicine Sans Frontiers earlier on about how we should mark Christmas Day, especially for those countries like Sudan, the Central African Republic, Egypt, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and other countries where conflict continues.
And that's what is beautiful about African history as well, when we get to understand the wealth of history that we actually have. It also empowers you, it gives you confidence, it gives you a sense that we can actually rebuild Africa in a positive way.
But look at this. This is exactly what would happen at the French Revolution. This is exactly what happened. I'm sure some arguments with Harriet Tubman and other people talking about, let's go this way, let's go that way.
Commercially, Christmas is huge. How does Kwanzaa compare? And are you getting buy-in from South Africans into this way of thinking?
Well, you know, I think we don't really want Kwanzaa to be watered down in the way that we have seen Christmas has been. I think it must be an authentic celebration, even if it doesn't become the biggest festival in the world. I don't think that is our concern. Our concern is that it should be an open and inclusive and welcoming festival and a point of reflection for African people, old people, young people, different nationalities, different religions. And even the first day of Kwanzaa, the principle for the day is unity. And I think we all know how desperately we need unity on this continent. So some of the conflicts that you even mentioned, even in our program, we want to also reflect on that, because we want to get away from this border consciousness that I'm from Ghana, I'm from Sudan, I'm from South Africa, so we have nothing in common.
Which is a huge problem in South Africa.
It's a huge problem.
Perhaps just invite our viewers to join us in this discussion and tell us what your feelings are about a different way of marking this time of the year.
We've got a children's program there.
Look! Dorothy's imagining Elmo celebrating Kwanzaa while dancing.
Are you ready, Elmo?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. Yeah.
We've got a Nubian youth club, which is for the children from the ages of 14 to 18.
Okay, nigga, about to get in my homie, I am Tito. And you know that I'm about to bust this quick, and I'm gonna go for the last boss, so let me stand for this. I'm about to stand for this. I want an ovation for people about to go and claim, and I just came from a nation of poetry that I'm about to be spitting. You know I'm hitting. It's still about to go, and that ain't got no limit. A lot of people be tripping. I guess I'm about to be funny like Cat Williams. At the same time, I'll be pimping. A lot of people about to go in the rhythm. I'm sorry if I'm too amazing. You just happen just to be the victim. Okay, I'm rolling and I'm standing. And I got my own things in my thug mansion. And I make sure that I'm a sandal of standing the Tuscan and rain. And you know how we're about to make it all stand. You know we gotta make sure we'll stand.
Machiavelli, to ring through the centuries.
I'm trying to lead y'all to a place that you probably haven't been before. I like our teas done. But check it. Listen. Follow me to a beautiful land where the lyrical man is a miracle man. Spiritual aid, lifting you out of your misery, mentally keeping you fit, physically keeping you fit, so that you never forget. It takes blood and sweat to change what's been set and keep the evil in check. Follow me to the land of dreams of kings and queens. Treat people like human beings and everything is as it seems. Gotta believe, run as a team. Peace is all we're trying to achieve. Higher flight, like these THC and the oxygen.
You know, and then we've got the children's program where they're going to be taught storytelling, they're going to be taught other activities that are also in cooperation with the indigenous knowledge systems, you know, that we need to also reiterate within our young ones.
Simba has traveled Europe.
Yes, that be it Germany, Italy, Netherlands, there are traditions that they follow that have been there for hundreds of years. That I've had the opportunity to travel these countries, which I'm still doing.
Yeah.
But sadly, when I'm in their territory, they'll tell you, for example, this is goulash. This is a German dish.
Yeah.
This is our history, our life, and everything. Though they might have bad history, but it's still a part of them. For example, I'll give an example of Germany because that's where I am most of the time.
Yeah.
After the World War, it was the Second World War.
Yeah.
It was even divided. There came a time when there was East Germany and West Germany.
Berlin Wall, yeah.
We would say, in courts, it was colonized. East Germany was Russian.
Yeah.
West Germany was American, British, and French.
Capitalism and communism,
yes, and
yeah.
Which West Germany was developing because of this whole capitalism thing.
Yeah.
East Germany was not so much because of communism.
Yeah.
But then, after the wall fell and everything else, I'm not saying this instantly reunified, but they never lost their culture. They never lost who they were as Germans. But look at us as black people, 500 years of being colonized by the white men. No offense, no. But
I see it in face. Yeah. Come on, boys. Yes, make them bleed. Make them bleed. We're talking here.
I am meant to hate my fellow brother through. They don't literally physically enslave me, but mentally, I am forced to like their ways as their right ways. Going back to Christianity, I'm not saying I do not believe in any greater force out there.
I see you were faith when you're fighting. Opinions.
When they brought the Bible, they say your faith is wrong. What you believe in is wrong. It's devilish. It's what so on. Who were they to change our ways, to change our religions, to change everything that we stood for? Look at the great kings like Chaka. Look at the great chiefs like Swati. Our kids do not know them. You ask them who Lillian Goy is in modern 20th century, they have no idea what she fought for or what she stood for women's rights. But ask them about Paul Kruger, ask them about all those white people who ran these countries. They know, because that's what they are forced to learn at school. That's mental slavery. Africa, unite, rise up,
Yes.
take back your stats,
I
take
go,
back
yeah.
your land, take back your country. Destroy all these borders for Africa as a country. Filling our hearts with xenophobia, filling our hearts with tribalism. To your fellow brother who has the same skin like you are. We should reunite as a people. You speak of Egyptians. It's Africa. They had so much of the technology that we use today. But then that is not recognized because my color and skin is black. I'm considered not intelligent.
Later on, Uzovuna. So the first fruits are coming around this time. So this event, about Kwanzaa, you could just jam the whole fucking time. Yeah. And just forget about all the problems in the world. And just be yourself. The language barrier. But Kwanzaa, it's like a get together of people from Orkanti Nangayi, Mzansi, Nangayi, Africa yonke. It's coming alive as a black nation, as black people, forming what we've been failing to do, which is forming a nation. Yeah, I want to zoom into Madiba over there. Seven this.
So we've also got that, we've got the drum corps.
Well, if you would excuse us, gentlemen, we didn't brave the
Greeks
in order to discuss these interesting points of history.
The land is vast, Father. There's plenty of room for all, without crowding.
He was one of those rare men who had the courage to live his ideals and to instill his dreams into the hearts of his countrymen.
To remember through all of this that Oscar Pistorius is not a hapless hero. He's not a tragic figure. This is a man who overcame a terrible disability with great glory. He's a man who projected himself as one of moral virtue. He basked in his privilege and race, and yet there he was firing guns in a crowded restaurant, getting friends to lie about it, and he killed a young woman. Whatever story you buy, Reva Steenkamp is dead.
This case has put the South African justice system under the spotlight. 20 years after apartheid, and some say it's come out looking whiter than white.
What happened here has become as totemic as the apartheid-era massacres of Sharpeville and Soweto. The difference is that this massacre occurred under a democratically elected government.
Your office always seems to be having slight problems with the colonies. And what do our colonies represent for us?
Sunshine, sir.
Precisely. And it is your privilege to safeguard our sunshine.
Oh, Hinda, lendlela esihambayo.
I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob.
Run, nigga, run. The patty gonna catch you.
And when the multitude heard this, they were astonished at his doctrine. And then one of them, which was a lawyer, asked him a question, tempting him.
Are you an engineer or a nigger? Are you an engineer or a nigger?
Look the same.
So if you've seen nothing, then I would suggest that you allow them to pass unmarked. But if you see what I see, if you feel as I feel, and if you would seek as I seek, then I ask you to stand beside me, outside the gates of
Machiavelli's time. He is a visionary.
Friendly, affable, loyal to his friends. He loved to go out drinking. He loved women. He loved good conversation. Just an ordinary, nice guy.
Well, ordinary may not be the best word, but certainly Machiavelli seems anything but Machiavellian. He is personable. He is also a very talented guy.
Stay focused. Talk about things that matter to people. You know? It's the economy, stupid. Okay?
The main foundations of every state are good laws and good arms. And because you cannot have good laws without good arms, and where there are good arms, good laws inevitably follow, I shall not discuss laws, but give my attention to arms. You are bound to meet misfortune if you are unarmed, because, among other reasons, people despise you, and this is one of the infamies a prince should be on his guard against. There is simply no comparison between a man who is armed and one who is not.
So, in the end, Machiavelli also says that you shouldn't be over-cautious. You shouldn't be too prudent in that sense. You're going to have to take action.
A prince must watch that he does not become afraid of his own shadow. His behavior must be tempered by humanity and prudence, so that excessive distrust does not make him unbearable. It is far better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both, but you must avoid being hated.
Fear is useful. Hatred is counterproductive.
wondering if you would donate some money for the revolution.
Golden rule that might have come from the prince, if Machiavelli had thought of it. Machiavelli lived when new ideas and technologies were changing forever the realities of power and the notions of government.
What I'm trying to say to y'all is this industry of what I'm trying to get into, ain't nobody never broke down. Ain't nobody broke down. We all slaves. We all slaves of something.
Ain't about my soul, yeah.
We all slaves. We all slaves. And y'all ain't experienced nothing right here but a moment from a movie out of glory. Back in the days, the slaves had enough money, they could buy their own freedom. We all say we slaves to Nike, we slaves to Benz, we slaves to public perception. Good morning. Till you read this, eat this, just peep this, preach this, teach us, Jesus. Okay, look up now, they done stole your streetness. After all of that, you receive this. Good morning. Hustlers, that's if you're still living, get on down. Every time that we hit them, good morning. Hustlers, that's if you're still living, get on down. Every time that we hit them, good morning. Hustlers, that's if you're still living, get on down.
Men in general judge by their eyes rather than by their hands, because everyone is in a position to watch.
Should you condescend to read and consider it carefully, you will perceive in its pages my profound desire that your magnificence will rise to the greatness that fortune and your qualities promise.